A client of mine recently got an email, nothing fancy, just an alert that their account had suspicious activity. They clicked. Fast forward, their bank account is empty, their credit is frozen, and their identity is being used in another state. Now, the wild part, it all started with a simple moment of trust. And that's how most fraud happens, not through some Hollywood style hack, but really through a human moment. Let's stop that, starting today. All right, here's the reality. The biggest threat to your cybersecurity isn't your Wi Fi router or some outdated antivirus software. It's actually you. I- Not just you, it's all of us, right? It's how we behave, it's how we trust too easily, how we click before we think. Cybersecurity is less about tech and more about human psychology. We get emails that look real, calls that sound legit, and because we're busy or we're distracted or just trying to be helpful, we click or give up info really without thinking twice. So here's a mindset shift. Stop thinking I'm not important enough to get scammed and start thinking I'm the target. Because guess what, folks? You probably are. Now, whether it's your bank account, your credit, your medical records, or even your DNA test results, it's all valuable. And scammers know how to use urgency and fear and trust to get you to hand it over. And the bottom line, your brain is the best firewall that you've got. So you got to stay skeptical, don't react, and pause and verify. All right, so let's talk a little bit about defense. There's no need to become a tech guru, right? No one wants that unless that's your world. You just got to really lock down a few basics. So, first and foremost, I want to talk with you about passwords. If you're still using the same one for everything, maybe with a one thrown at the end, it's probably time to upgrade. So, you got to maybe get a password manager. Let it do the heavy lifting, make every password unique. Now, I got to tell you what, it's not always easy, but it works. Now, second, there's what's called multi factor authentication or MFA. Now, this is a pain, but it's also the superhero of your login strategy. You type your password, then it asks for a code that's sent to your phone. That is what's called MFA. Again, it's a pain sometimes, but it is 100% worth it. Start with your email and your bank accounts. All right, next, you got to update your devices. Every time you delay those little updates on your phone or your laptop, you're basically leaving your digital door unlocked. See, software updates often fix security holes that hackers, well, they already know about. So if you're not updating, you're at risk. So hit that update all and let it work while you sleep. And don't forget your Wi Fi. Change default router passwords as well. You got to use strong encryption like WPA3. And if you're using public Wi Fi at a coffee shop, well, don't do sensitive stuff like logging into your bank account. Save that for home where you might be more protected. And finally, know that your personal data, it's everywhere, right? Think about what you've shared online, your birthday, addresses, pet names. Scammer use this type of info to guess passwords, answer security questions, or just convince you that there's someone you can trust. So tighten up that digital footprint. And also be careful. On social media, there's all those games that ask you to list the different things in your life. Oftentimes, you're just giving an open window of all of the important things: your favorite food, favorite colors, your first pet, your first street that you lived on. All of that could be used to build trust. All right, let's talk about how to keep this going. Not just today, but really as a lifestyle, right? Because one strong password, it's good for now, but it's not going to protect you forever. So I want you to adopt what we call the assume breach mindset. Now, I'm not talking about being paranoid, but I am talking about being smart. Think of it like this: you wouldn't leave your front door open just because no one's ever broken in before. Same with your online life. You got to assume that someone's going to try, and then you got to prepare accordingly. So start reviewing your digital identity just like you do with your credit score. So once a year, you ask, what apps have access to my data? What old accounts can I close? What subscriptions am I still paying for that, well, they might be storing my info? And this is kind of good to get your household involved too. It doesn't have to be a solo mission. You got your spouse, your kids, your parents. They're all connected to you digitally. So if your mom gets phished and they get access to her email, well, guess what? They might stumble on your info as well. So make it a family thing. And you can share stories, talk about weird emails, things that you can learn together. And finally, remember this: protecting your identity, it's protecting your money. See, I've seen people derail years of financial progress because of one scam or one identity theft case or one breach that froze their accounts and cost them lots of money. So let's not just build wealth, let's guard it as well. Now, why does all this matter? Look, as the wealthologist, I spend a lot of time helping people grow their wealth. But here's the deal: all that planning that we do, and all that investing, and all those dreams that you have for your future, they don't mean much if your financial life is exposed. You can't grow what's already been stolen. And when it is stolen, your time, your energy, and your trust all get redirected toward cleanup. And I got to tell you, that's not progress. That's more what we would consider survival mode, right? And I've seen it happen to good people who were smart, but got caught in the wrong moment. That's why this isn't just a tech issue, it's actually a wealth issue. My job is to help you protect what you've worked for. And this right here, the human side of cyber defense, is one of the most important tools you can add to your financial toolkit. All right, I'm going to give you a 5-minute security sprint. So, this is to help make it real. So, 5 things you can do this week. They're not going to take long, but hopefully they'll have a big impact. First, turn on multi factor authentication for at least one high value account to your email, your bank, or your investment platform. Update your devices. Make sure your phone, your laptop, your apps are all up to date. Just do it. Pick 1 week password and change it today. Store it in a password manager. And also talk to someone in your life, your partner, your parent, your kid, about a scam or a sketchy message that they got. And Google yourself. See what data is floating out there. If something feels kind of off, take a step, lock it down. If you do just one of these, you're already going to be safer than most. You do all 5, you're becoming what I call unhackable enough. Not perfect, but you're better off. All right, I want to hear from you. What's the sketchiest message, email, or phone call that you've received lately, and what made you think it might be fake? Put it in the comment section below. Let's break it down together and help others spot signs too. I'll share mine real quick. This past week, I got an email that was sent to several folks that was asking for a bill to be paid. It was a substantial bill. And the entire email had a back and forth between me and somebody else. And it was a conversation that sounded a lot like me. The only problem was it wasn't me. They used AI to generate somebody that sounded like me talking about this bill and then said, hey, please pay this bill. Fortunately, I saw this before it went to my wife, who, when she read it, she said, man, that sounds just like you. And I would have easily paid that bill. So watch out. Fraud is getting smarter. You've got to keep yourself up to date. Now, hopefully you found this helpful. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and please, 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 please share this video with someone who's still using password 123 as their main password, because trust me, they probably need it. All right, folks, Chris Hobart here, the Wealthologist. Thanks for being here and for being smart about your future and for locking it down before it's too late. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.